Hi, I'm Megan Kepnack, and I'm part of the Applied Policy Analysis Research Group for Youth Violence in Springfield, Massachusetts. We're here today to present to you more than just bouncing a ball. It's our take on open gym programs as they exist and youth violence in Springfield. First, we would like to introduce ourselves. We have Isaias Rodriguez, who's from UMass Amherst and a senior. We have Jenna Pinelli, who is also a senior at UMass Amherst. Myself, I'm a sophomore at Amherst College, and also Lindsay Gruxkis, who is not here with us today to present. She's also a sophomore at Amherst College. What are we here to do? The push for open gym programs in different cities across the country has become a popular go-to for violence prevention programs. However, does this type of program work? And does Springfield need it? Youth violence prevention relies on more than just providing resources to the community. As we have found in our research, youth violence prevention must incorporate structure beyond the space and equipment needed for a basketball game. Open gyms should and can be about more than just bouncing a ball. Springfield has the potential to use its existing open gyms programs to create a more viable community effort to reduce youth violence. This report addresses youth violence in Springfield as a public health issue and how this public health issue can be combated by open gym programs.
We use a variety of resources to understand youth violence and how to prevent it. We also used resources from many credible institutions, and we also looked at other open gym programs, which we'll later discuss in our best practices section. We then attempted to take these figures, facts, and practices and relate them in a way that's relevant to Springfield. We had the opportunity to gain insights on the issues right from the people who lived in Springfield, including citizens, city representatives, community group officials, and even state representatives. Our interviews with them gave a more intimate look at this unique city, and we sought their help to see if the national data that we were able to research proved to be true in their day-to-day lives in Springfield.
The question that we attempted to answer in our research is, does Springfield have a youth violence problem? Before we start that, however, we want to define youth violence. Youth violence generally refers to acts of violence initiated by or targeted at youths between the ages of 10 and 24 years. Acts of youth violence range from the relatively harmless to life-threatening and criminal acts. In some communities, youth violence has become widespread with catastrophic consequences. These consequences eventually create a new cultural landscape that begins to generate problems in itself, and as youths are easily sold into a culture of violence which perpetuates as a public health issue. Why is youth violence a problem? As of now, youths under 20 years old make up nearly 33% of the Springfield population, which is a large and important part of the community. This means that youth violence can be characterized as a public health issue, as it has far-reaching negative effects on the community.
As found on the State of Massachusetts website, a publication from 2009 suggests that the rate of violence in Springfield is a problem that begs to be solved. We are including an important data set as an attachment, but it is not possible within the scope of this project to correlate this data with youth crime data in Springfield. More work is needed to assemble crime data that can be meaningfully cross-referenced with data from the Parks Department and other agencies about open gym participation. Thank you.
Do open gyms work? Once recognizing that youth violence is a problem in Springfield, we then turn to how youth violence prevention programs relate to open gyms and how those programs can be implemented. During the course of our study, we had the opportunity to visit an open gym. Here is a picture of myself and Jimmy Rivera while at the Chestnut Middle School Open Gym. There are several open gyms functioning in Springfield, but they are run by a range of community groups, including the rec department. We have created an asset map of the current or recently operating gyms that are offered to the public.
This is an asset map of the city of Springfield and all the open gym programs. You can find this full asset map and list on the Applied Policy website. Along the sides of our map are the different listed programs, some of which are closed and many that are hard to reach.
What we have found that works. Through our research of open gyms, we have come across both guidelines and actual programs that should be modeled when creating such programs. As reported in the Prevention of Youth Violence, a framework for community action, the CDC outlines types of programs and their qualities as either prevention programs, intervention and suppression programs, or the most effective type of program, the comprehensive program. Among these types of programs include guidelines that are accessible and very attainable in the existing Springfield Open Gym program. As found in a report by the Gottfredson Associates, intergroup relations and interaction between the schools, community, and groups within or outside of school is key. Activities to reduce youth violence must have characteristics that A, promote interaction among members of diverse groups and to celebrate diversity, B, promote relations between the school and the community, and C, improve relations and resolve or reduce conflict.
In our research, we also looked at best practices and found 2 programs that were extremely effective in those areas. The first program is the San Jose program, which is an open gym program run twice a week for 3 hours in a newly constructed 20,000-foot, $18.5 million Edaville Community Center. This center saw its grand opening in September 25 of 2010. It is run by Sonny Lara, who is an ordained priest and gang intervention specialist, who runs the program through his agency, Firehouse Community Development Center, which receives its funding from the San Jose Mayor's Gang Prevention Task Force. The Open Gym has been a success in terms of its participants complying with rules, respecting fellow participants and staff, and caring for the place. However, Lara is not selling for just open gym pickup games. He has plans of starting an organized basketball league, as well as other services, including job training workshops.
Our second program is the Brooklyn Park Youth Violence Prevention Initiative, which is found in New York. The Brooklyn Park Youth Violence Prevention Initiative emerged from a community concern about juvenile crime and victimization, particularly within a community known as the Zane Corridor. The Brooklyn Park Initiative was modeled after other successful programs, including the Minneapolis Blueprint for Action for Preventing Youth Violence program. But it is also established through the input from youth and parents in the Zane community extensively. For a year, the Zanewood Recreation Center hosted a variety of activities, including dance, computer lab, basketball, karate, mentoring, tutoring, and also open gyms. At the end of the year, evaluations were made through the community safety surveys, youth surveys, individual case studies, and police data. And there were very encouraging results.
Recommendations. Improve dissemination of information. Throughout the course of our research, we found that there was a consensus among the various groups, including the government, the Parks Department, and youth, that there was an overall lack of information regarding the locations and hours of operation of each gym. We have concluded that the cause of this problem is primarily the result of poor dissemination of information to the community at large. Keeping in mind the budget restraints placed on each community organization, we have made several recommendations which we believe will be effective in improving dissemination of information regarding open gyms. The creation of an answering service. We believe that the creation of an answering service, which consists of a simple recorded message stating the locations and hours of operation of each functioning gym, would provide a way for potential patrons to obtain information. This system would also be easy to change when hours fluctuate and is relatively inexpensive to maintain. Creation of a Facebook page. As we have shown here, we believe that the creation of a Facebook page is a free way to address a large portion of the community at once. Facebook is easily operated and can be changed to provide near instantaneous dissemination of information. As an added benefit, Facebook is also a subtle way of fostering a relationship between the community. One example can be found in a local community of Woburn, Massachusetts. Publication of an activities brochure. While clearly the most expensive option, we believe that the creation of a comprehensive activities brochure is essential to the City of Springfield. If a distribution through citywide mailing is financially impossible or impractical, we believe this brochure should be distributed to schools and community centers. At the very least, we recommend that there should be an electronic form of the brochure that can be accessed via links on the Springfield City website.
Staff considerations is key in running a successful open gym program. Based on reports from the Parks Department and through studying best practices, we believe that staff members are a critical factor which contributes to the effectiveness of open gyms as a means of preventing youth violence. Staff members who are trusted, caring, supportive, and respected by the communities that they are serving are most likely to have a positive and potentially lasting influence on the youth that attend the open gyms. Staff training. Consequently, staff selection and training are also factors of critical importance. Forging relationships with the youth in open gyms and providing a source of encouragement and guidance can create a lasting positive outcome. Youth involvement is also important. Assigning certain managerial and/or maintenance responsibilities to willing, capable, and trustworthy youth may provide powerful developmental tools for youth. This is essential in that it could help foster a more self-sufficient program in which less money is spent on staff, as some duties are carried out by participating youths. This is also significant in showing the youth that such programs will not only be done for them, but that they too are responsible in helping themselves and making the most of opportunities provided to them. We should also encourage a priority that for youth patrons. First and foremost, open gyms should provide a safe environment for youth. Therefore, we recommend that all patrons utilizing open gyms should agree to a set of policies regarding appropriate behavior and attire while utilizing the gym.
In the past, Springfield open gym programs have had difficulty in securing funds. As a result, it has been extremely difficult for youth violence prevention programs to persevere, let alone expand. Since the community factors contributing to youth violence are consistent, so must be the preventative efforts. Therefore, it is critical that sufficient funds are secured in a timely and consistent fashion. As a means of securing sufficient funding, we suggest a greater emphasis be placed on grassroots fundraising strategies in conjunction with more actively securing grants. Some of our suggestions include selling bottled water or sports drinks at the open gyms, fostering partnerships with local businesses and institutions so that they may be able to sponsor events, and also establishing a committee dedicated to and responsible for applying for grants in a professional and timely manner in accordance with necessities. We also recommend greater communication and integration. Overall, we feel there's an increased need for communication between the vital organizations that are involved in running and funding the open gyms in Springfield. This communication may be as simple as an annual meeting involving each of the program leaders and each of Springfield's respective open gyms. We suggest that programs operate under one umbrella so that further standardization of policies and hours of operation are established to accomplish optimal consistency.
We believe that the open gym programs we have found across the country, as well as some existing in Springfield, serve as an important way to prevent youth violence in a community. The problem of youth violence is apparent and real, and the community deserves some outlets for young people to turn to for healthy fun. Open gyms are a key way to do that. It is more than just bouncing a ball. With that in mind, and also the necessary changes we have noted in our recommendations section, we must then conclude that Springfield is a very responsive city that is asking for change. Too often do youth complain about Springfield as being boring and that they have nothing to do. Thus, open gym programs are a sure step in the right direction in terms of youth violence prevention, a sure step in providing resources, guidance, as well as a safe and enjoyable activity for the Springfield youth.